Lansing from Wellesley Neighbors, and we've been involved in setting up this program in collaboration with the Wellesley Library and working with Don Theme, who's going to do some introductions, who's on the board of the International Cooperative, right? Collaborative. So just as one second, Wellesley Neighbors is a program that's been around for a number of years that works with people who are primarily retired and has all kinds of cultural and support and all kinds of events. And we're about 100 members. And we extend to at least five towns in the Metro West area. So that's all I have to say. Don, if he's wandering off on me. You want me to close the doors? Okay.
Thank you, Margot. You can't have really put this together without Wellesley Neighbors' help and the library itself. So the big thank you out to the folks that are also listening in on the cable TV and Zoom, which we have quite a number there. I'm Don Theme. I'm a trustee of this organization. I'm a Wellesley resident for about 40 years. And Bob is my brother-in-law, so there's a relationship there. The IC, the International Collaborative for Science, Education, and the Environment, has been around for almost 20 years, I think. Yeah. And it's been an organization I've been proud to be associated with. They make a very efficient use of money. They make things happen, and I think that's what the story is today, and I hope you get an appreciation of what it takes to make something really happen, okay? There's not a lot of waste in this program, but a lot of return. Bob had a history of an academic life from Berkeley, Harvard, Oxford, and eventually Brandeis, who was a professor. But he's primarily a teacher, and he wanted to bring teaching, I think, to the disadvantaged, and he wanted his teaching to have a real impact. And serendipity led him to Africa, and he may have a chance to talk about that story. On the other side of the world in Africa, we had a young man growing up in a typical Maasai village, Kisioki. I think when Bob first met him, he was still at the warrior stage, which is a phase of life for the Maasai men. And by serendipity, they got together. And I think we have a situation where neither would have been as successful as they are now in the program had they not met. So that's going to be a story by itself. The other story is going to be the journey they're on now to help make life better in the Maasai area, okay? The Maasai area, when they talk about it, and I've been there, it's one of those beautiful places on earth. But it's faced with all sorts of problems and issues. And they're not just cultural issues, they're really economic, and they're also environmental in a huge way. And so suddenly this culture has been forced to adapt to changes in technology and to changes in the environment that are swiftly moving in there. So Bob is right at the nexus of all that conflict in all those areas of where exchange needs to take place in order for a group of people to adapt to this change. So that's the story of what this organization does. And Kisioki will probably lead us through the different areas in which they are making an effort to make change. And that will serve as, I think, a guide as we go through this. It's not going to be a lecture. It's going to be more of a conversation. Bob and Kisioki appreciate questions as we go through, rather than wait to the end for a bunch of questions, okay? So if you've got something in your mind, raise your hand. And you won't be interrupted. They've got plenty of ability to adapt, okay? So with that, I think we can start with Bob. You want it? Yeah, thank you.
Phyllis, thanks so much. Let me go back to the beginning of this. Yeah, I was at Brandeis for many years, 43 altogether. I retired in around 2006, I think, finally. But I started this Africa work long before. In 1986, I went to the University of Dar es Salaam on a sabbatical as a visiting physics professor. And my chairman of the physics department was Mohammed Bilal, who got his PhD at Berkeley, gone to Howard, a Zanzibar guy who liked Americans, and he and I worked together, and he came to me and said, let's start some science education in Zanzibar. So we went to Zanzibar and we started a science education project there. And due to some circumstances, I started working on stove improvement in Zanzibar.
They want you to use a mic, Bob.
Oh, okay. I started working on stove improvement in Zanzibar. And a British woman who lived with Maasai, in Maasai land, lived in the city of Arusha. I was helping her with some fundraising, and she said, Bob, come see how the Maasai are living if you want to see who needs to get the smoke out of their house. So I went to Maasai land north of Arusha, up into the mountains, and I visited the Maasai, and their homes were so terrible and so smoky and so unhealthy. I said, Zanzibar can take care of itself. I'm going to work with the Maasai and try to make life a little better. So let me show you where things are. That's Africa, of course. Here's Tanzania. Can these lights be turned off, the ones up here? That would be nice. That's Tanzania. The equator's right here. So Zanzibar, where I had worked, is 3 degrees south of the equator, and Arusha and the area where we work with the Maasai are also in that area. Now, this is Tanzania. The famous Rift Valley, that's the Western Rift Valley. Those are the deep lakes, the big lakes of Africa. And Lake Victoria is sort of in the middle. And down this side is the Eastern Rift Valley, and that's the volcanic area. And that shows the Rift Valley splits in two. It comes across Eritrea, Ethiopia. It splits in two, and half of the rift, the boundary between the plates, is over here with the deep lakes. Lake Tanganyika. This is where Jane Goodall did all her work on chimpanzees, right here. And this is the volcanic area. So that's the geography of where we are. And this shows that here's Mount Kilimanjaro. Here's Mount Meru. This is 15,000 feet. This is over 19,000 feet. Here's the major city of Arusha, and the Maasai of Tanzania live in this region mostly. This is the Great Serengeti, where the wildlife are most famous. And the Maasai live in this area, and we work between Arusha and the Rift Valley, and we work north up into the Kenyan border, and we work in here. And these are the Maasai areas of Tanzania. And the Maasai are about 3 million people, and about 1 million of them live in Tanzania, 1.2 million, and the rest are in Kenya. So that's where we are. That's how it looks from space. Now we can show things from space, and it's kind of wonderful. Here's the huge Lake Victoria in the sort of between the two great rifts, and the Nile starts here and goes all the way to Cairo. And it starts here in Uganda in a town called Jinja. And I once had the chance to go there and see where the Nile was beginning. And then I went to Cairo later and saw where it ended. But that's beautiful geography. So that's where we are. Now, so I went to the Maasai, and I said and I needed a translator. And the British woman who invited me there said, oh, I know a young guy you should hire. His name's Kisioki, and here he is. He was 23 years old. We met 16 years ago. He was born the same month I went to Dar es Salaam to work at the university. So I was working at the university, and in the village of Salela, which we now work in, this is Lake Manyara. Salela's right about here. This guy was born, and we now work in that village, of course. And I was working at the university. And then when I needed a translator, I hired him. But then I started getting serious, so I needed more than a translator. I needed a guy to help me. I bought him a motorcycle. We put a box in the back of his motorcycle, and that was going to be the delivery vehicle for our great project. You know, we started out very small, very naive. And now we've gone on. So I want Kisioki to speak now. I'm going to interrupt sometimes and join in, and I want you guys to interrupt and join in. And I want you to listen to him for two things. Listen very carefully. What do we do? How did we choose what to do? In concrete terms, what do we actually do? But what's the underlying philosophy? What's the underlying idea? What's the underlying spirit of what we do? Because foreign aid is kind of crude. Big nations do stuff with lots of money and have different ways of approaching it. So listen to Kisioki and me, and especially Kisioki, for that dual description. What are we doing, and what's the underlying human life behind it? Okay, so Kisioki, please.
Thank you. But it's today when I realized I was comparing myself and you today and the year when you come to Dar es Salaam University. Do you remember how big I was? Very little.
He was a meatloaf.
Yeah, it's amazing. But yeah, thank you, Bob. But thank you, everyone, for coming to listen what we try to do for the Maasai of Tanzania. And we appreciate the big work you did, Don, Stephanie, and the organizing team to get your friend to come to listen to us. But Mike, yeah, you can hear me now? Yes. Just to say that the Maasai also live in Kenya and Tanzania, as Bob said, but mostly now we're working with the Maasai in Tanzania because it's where I came from, it's where Bob came and designed a stove with Maasai women. And it took us about 1 year and a half to get a good stove that fit a Maasai cooking style and is efficient and it's healthy because it takes the smoke for about 95% outside the Maasai homes. And we are not just working now with just stoves. We're working in different sectors because as we continue staying and working with the Maasai, we discover a lot of problems, a lot of things that needed to be fixed at the present, things that doesn't need to wait for the future to get fixed. We're working on solar electrification for the homes and the settlements because microphone? Yeah. This is better? Or this one? Right here. You know, the microphone need installation. needed to be in the right place. No, stick is very important. So we're working with solar electrification for homes and the settlement, as I said, because in these Maasai homes, you know, the grid, the national grid, haven't reached to them. So they've been using open fire to light their homes. But also for those who have little money, they go to market to buy kerosene, and they use kerosene lamp to, you know, to get light during the night. So we work on that too. But also we went far and start to work on clean and safe water. And, you know, mostly of these people, I mean the Maasai, get their water from reserved rainwater, we call big dams. And from those dams is where the cows, wild animal, come and get their water too. So it's not clean and it's not safe for human consumption. So we designed a system that which I will show you on the slide. But also we work on women organization. I mean, we're organizing women to be able to form groups that we can support to start individual and group business to be able to get financial or income through the businesses that are in their areas. We're working also on climate change adaptation, which I will show you on the slide. But you know, we're working with other people who found us as the organization that can solve some of the problems that are existing in their working areas, which I will show you as well. So let's start on chimney stove for health and fuel efficiency. On that slide, you can see the Maasai women carrying wood at their back. Sometimes they go very, very far. In some areas, women go about 10 kilometers to look for firewood. And when they come back, they carry such load you can see on the slide show. And on the other picture on that slide, you see a very smoky house. I'll show you how the Maasai house look like. It's a rounded, small, thatched house where there is no ventilation, no windows. People cook inside with an open fire, as you can see the woman there cooking. And, you know, all the smoke, you know, try to find a way, and the only way to get outside the house is through the door. And that's why you see one of our friends who visited us getting outside the house. Doctor, you want to say something?
The chief doctor in Monduli district told us that 25 children per 1,000 die before the age of 5 of lung disease. Now think of all the kids who don't die, who are chronically ill, who aren't doing very well in school, who don't feel well, and are a burden on their mother. So if 25 per 1,000 die, maybe 10 times that are suffering. So that's why we have to tackle this.
Yes, and imagine, you know, mostly of the big percentage of the Maasai women deliver their kid at homes. And they deliver inside these smoky houses. Imagine a little kid of 1 month is living in this very smoky house. That's why the number of the death through the diseases caused by smoke is big in this area. So see that load? That is me, and it was a time Bob and I went with these Maasai women to gather firewood. So that's why you see me and the woman carrying the firewood. We have a factory where we manufacture some part of our stoves. We have some guys working there. And in order to install a stove inside a Maasai house, you have to have experts. And we train the Maasai women to become stove installers expert. We use the expert women to train other women for 10 days to get all engineering principles on how to install our stove. They call it Maasai stove because it was designed by Maasai women. So those are some of our expert women installing a stove. And the stove need a lot of material. It need bricks, need cement, need lime, and it need those metal parts that I showed you the guy making at our factory. And in order the chimney to get outside the house, they have to cut a hole on top of the thatched roof so that the chimney get outside the house. And finally, this is how to look with the chimney outside. The chimney has to go to get all the way, especially the bricks chimney, so that, look at that house, it's a thatched roof. So if the fire, the metal chimney get closer to this thatch, it's dangerous for the house. So the brick chimney has to get all the way outside. And, this is a boma. When we say the Maasai boma, this is a settlement where 2 or 3 men live together with 10 to 12 wives, because, this is a community where the guys can have a chance to have up to 10 to 15 to 30 wives. So this is one of the boma. We put stoves and electrified it. We put the solar system that provide the light and cell phone chargers for the people who are living in this boma. And that's how to look like when it get installed. It's very healthy, no smoke inside the house. You see a chimney getting outside the house, and a woman can cook while she's holding her kid, without any problem, and it's safe. It's safe because it's hard for the kid to fall on the fire inside the house. And one of the picture, two mamas enjoying cooking with our stove, and there is a light, and this is during the night. So, now the life is so totally different compared to how to look before. And up to now, I think we have installed over 7,000 stoves for being working for 16 years. And as long we get more resources, we continue to put more. The problem is resources, because we have to subsidize this stove very heavily so that the community can afford it. They pay 25%, and that money that they pay, they give us, we give to these stove installers. They need to be paid to install the stoves. It's a job for them. So we always looking for more resources, and we haven't even reached to 10% of the need to these people. And everyone needs our stoves. Now we're having local leaders coming to us all the time, asking for us to take the project to their village. And if we don't have resources, it's hard to get to the village.
What is the material that the houses are made of?
The houses are made with wood, thatch, and cow's dungs, and clay.
Go back a couple of slides. Maybe,
Like this.
yeah, that one.
Yeah. As you can see, the wall is made with wood. Then they use cow dungs mixed with clay to, how can I say, to plaster, to make a plaster to the house. And Yeah, they use the local material that are available in the area. But, you know, this is, they're living this way because they cannot afford to have better houses, but their vision, their expectation is one day to own a better house compared to this one. That's what everyone wish. Yes?
I just wanted to say, the mud and dung house is, the plaster is beautiful. It's, it looks like a plastered wall, it sheds water, they're very nice and they're very cool.
Yeah, they're cool, they're nice, but you know, the other problem is now during to this situation where we're having a shortage of rain, we you know, the climate change is affecting this community too. And they're having shortage of rain and lack of grass sometimes to cover the roofs. So sometimes it leaks during when the rain, and that is a problem. You know, they're sleeping in the night, the big rain come, and the house started to leak. I remember when I was little, my mom's house was leaking, so she has to cover us using the cow skin, you know, and that also is still happening to this community. So they don't like to, you know, to continue living that situation, but, you know, because of the resources, that's why they cannot go. They cannot have better houses. And, you know, I was talking to our friend who've been to Uganda. This is a team of Maasai women. We took to Bwindi to install stoves, to join other stakeholders who work in that area for the Batwa people. And this is one of our women experts we took there to train the Batwa women in that area in Uganda. So with stoves, yes?
I have a question about the stove.
Yes.
The resources for, the wood resources are so scarce. Why was the focus not on solar stoves?
Yeah.
The sun is powerful there, right?
It's very powerful, but you know, in order you to be able to cook with solar, you have to have a huge investment. You have to invest on buying a lot of panels. You have to invest on buying a lot of panels, solar panels. You have to buy maybe batteries so that you can cook during the night, and they cannot afford. They cannot afford. The problem is affordability. We're working with very poor people. And we have to, you know, to balance their situation with what we can provide.
There are two ways to cook with solar. One is to use mirrors and try to use the solar heat itself with the parabolic mirrors and stuff. That's very impractical. I mean, I love the people who try to make it work, but it really isn't a good way to cook. I mean, you got to keep it lined up, and it's good for hot dogs, you know. It's good for high school projects. Wonderful. You make a metal thing and you put hot dogs and you can cook. But no, the other way is to actually have electric cooking, and that would be wonderful. But think about the wattage of an electric hot plate that some of us have had. How many watts is it? Several hundred. These houses, to light them up, we use less than 10 watts per house. That's what we're talking about, right? For one house to cook, you need 300 or 400 watts of solar energy rate. You know, watts are not energy, they're the rate of using energy. To light up a house is 8, 9, 10 watts. Little white LED bulbs are extremely bright now. That's a great technology. The guy who got the Nobel Prize for the white LED bulb got the most valuable Nobel Prize ever, I think. So these are 10 watts per house. Now you have a BOMA, a settlement with 10 houses. We're talking 100 watts for the whole settlement. That's one solar panel, one battery. So that's the problem. Electric cooking is a high energy. To boil water takes a lot of energy. So someday,
Yeah, that one day in the future, they will start cooking with solar or electric or the gas. The gas, some of people who have little money are buying this small propane, with LPG gas, and cook with it. But the majority, they cannot afford. But I think, and our slogan is, let's try to do the best of what we can do at the present to try to solve the existing problem. And using our stove, we're really solving a big problem, but also it's a problem that we can afford at the moment, at the present. So here is some of our people we're training on how to do electrification, solar electric, do wiring, connect the battery, connect the panel, and as you see there, some of the Maasai, we train how to do wiring, to connect the panel to the battery, to the charger controller, so that you can get light and charge your cell phone. You see there, Mama is doing wiring inside the Maasai house. It's excellent. They love it. It's an opportunity for them to do something different for their community. And, this is how we put our solar system into these houses. We have to have, in order to electrify the Boma, we have to have a so-called electric center, where you have a panel on top of the house and have a battery inside the house. See at the thatched roof house, and they see at the metal roof house. You can do electrification in either of these houses. And that is our team who went somewhere and do electrification for 12 houses within 2 days. So simple. And the people are there. They want this job, and they want to do something different in this community. And this is how we do the electrification. We send wires from one house to another using underground wire. You see, we're putting wires inside those white pipes and bury them and send to each house for each house to have electricity. And this is how it will look during the night, It's a magic. Thank you for the guy who discovered the solar. Did he got a Nobel Prize? The solar guy.
the guy who got the white, bright LED bulb actually got the Nobel Prize.
I wanted the guy who invented the solar panel to have a Nobel Prize. And I think I'll write it to the Nobel people. It's very important. He really brought something. Look at these people. If the solar panel wasn't discovered, these people will be living in the dark because the national grid won't be there. So, asante sana, whoever who discovered it. And here it's clean and safe water. This is how to look like, This is how these people are getting clean. They were getting water. It's not safe. It's not clean. So we've been driving around this area and see this problem. And we come up with a way to solve it. We are solar expert. We know there's solar pumps. You can pump this water and put it somewhere and clean it and treat it. And finally, people will have clean and safe water. And this is how we do. You have to have 2 tanks. People have this reservoir. They collect the rainwater and use it for entire year, because if you don't collect it, then you won't survive in this area. You need water. Access is a problem. So we have these 2 tanks. The tank on top, where we pump water using solar panel and the battery from the pond. And then From there, we filter using aluminum sulfate. Within 12 hours, the water is clean. The manager come and they open the faucet, and the water get drained gravity, using, we use gravity to drain water from the top tank to the second tank. There you have clean water, but it's not safe. At the second tank is where we add chlorine to treat it. And at the end, this is what you get. People fetching water using the normal faucet, like you are in town. People in town, this is how they get their water. But in the village now, they're getting water in this way because of the system we invented. In the morning, when you go to this area around 8 a.m., you find people lining up, collecting water. And, it has been a wonderful thing. We have put about 7 systems in this area where we're saving over, I think, 1,200 people. Yeah, something like that, getting clean and safe water in this area. But, it's just a percentage. And we show it to the government. Government has some money. And we try, there was a time they brought Uhuru torch. There is a torch, the government ran it all to launch or to hone a project. 2 years ago, they came to our project. They honor us. But what we want is them to copy our system and take to other areas where people are not getting safe and clean water and put this system. It will help them. They started, there was some guys from West. Last year, they came to Mbuyuni. And we don't know, maybe next year they will start implementing this system. But we want to have more, and the people needed them.
Let me give them some numbers here. Yeah. The women can get 40 liters a day from our system. Now, that's 10 gallons. Think how many gallons we use when we flush the toilet. I mean, a typical American uses hundreds of gallons per day. But the women can get 10 gallons, 40 liters of clean water every morning, and maybe collect another 40 liters of dirty water somehow, and their family can have 80 liters of water for the day. It costs us $35 per family to install a water system. So now these are organized groups. We don't put up a water system and anybody who wanders by gets it. There are groups already organized around that pond that he showed you. There are 100 families that use that pond, and they have some control and some leadership in a little committee. And they come to us or we go to them, and they pay a little and we pay the rest. And for $35 a family, we can install one of these systems. And it lasts forever. It's very durable. And we're very bad warranty guys. Our warranties last forever. We're stupid. When people call us and say, we're having some trouble, we go. So anyway, so for 100 families using a pond, for $3,500 to $4,000, we can put in one of these systems. It costs 25 cents a month per family for the chemicals. Zero. The chemicals are free. 25 cents a month. The alum comes from India. The chlorine comes from South Africa. We know where to buy it. The important thing, so that's how much it is, $4,000, and we can stop diarrhea for 100 families. Okay. We go to we go to the government and we say, you have health money, why don't you give us some of your health money and we'll do more of these? And they say, oh, well, this reason we can and we can't and can't, and they never do. And that's a long story, but that's normal. So this is one of the things we need money for. And it's a wonderful thing to do. Yeah.
Am I correct in hearing you said that
They love us.
But they're not doing it on their own.
They love us. This man is famous. He's famous with the government, with the people, with everybody. No, they won't kick in. They come to our celebrations. We might launch one of these systems and invite some big government guys to come, and the national TV comes. And then the district commissioner calls over me and in front of the national TV says, we really appreciate how you're doing this working with the government. They say that on national TV. And then it's my turn to say something. And I don't say, you son of a bitch, you didn't give us anything. No, I say, and we hope to do more of this work with you, sir. No. Tanzania is a hierarchical thing. They don't have city-state power. It's very centralized. Once the budget's established, it goes all the way to the top and it doesn't change. It's a different political organization. Yeah.
Since you've been there, how has the rainy season changed?
We're going to go into that because we are doing what Kisioki will tell us about is climate change adaptation.
Yeah. Okay, so here now, I want to talk about the work we're doing to empower the Maasai women economically. This is a group that have left behind without having resources to run their daily life, especially the majority, because most of the resources have been controlled by the men. But they are the people, they are there, they want opportunity, they need the resources. Opportunity are there. They want to grab those opportunities. But how can you do a business if you don't have a capital? So we organize groups. If we get the resources, there is an organization called the Global Fund for Widows, have been supporting us to organize these groups, especially the widows, on putting them together. We train them on how to start a so-called village commercial banks, where 25 women get together. And every week, they meet once for 1 hour or 2 hours. And their agenda is to buy shares from their bank. And the share can be between $1 to $3 a week. And that money they put in the bank. The bank decide, they have leaders. They will decide who to lend this money to go to start a business among the members. And you return the money within 3 months or 6 months with a little interest. And after 52 weeks, they get together and everyone knows how much she have invested in that bank. She will get what she invested plus interest that have come up through the interest that have been paid by the members. So that have been so successful. And apart from that, we also add a capital. We don't just let them to start this bank themselves. We have to support the bank. We have to put the money, a certain amount, like I think we put in $2,000 in their bank first as the initial capital to let them moving. And then after a year, we found a group has $10,000 to $15,000 in their bank. We have started so far about I think 32 groups, and because the impact is huge in the community, we have over 200 group who organized themselves, and they are calling us for support and for the training. So we have over 1,000 women we have helped. They get like this every week. And sometime after 52 weeks, they call us to show us what they have achieved. And together we go to celebrate the, the impact, the result of the great work we have organized. Look at this group, I think it was 3 weeks ago, and what they did with their interest, with the profit from the bank, apart from what you're investing, they used the profit to buy iron sheet to give the members to go to improve their homes. This is the movement. The Maasai are moving from the thatched roofs because of climate change situation to put their homes to be the metal roofs. So each member here got about 10 metal roofs from the profit, from a certain percent, from the percent, from that profit that the bank have made. And also the men are joining in. The men also wanted to get organized. This is our organizer, women organizer, also organizing men to start groups. This thing is getting stronger in the Maasai community. And one of the big advantage of organizing people into these groups is a social advantage. When one of the members had someone sick, has a problem, the members get together and to contribute a certain amount to help that person with the problem. So also the social impact is so huge through this organizing work. But also, with opportunity, I remember there was some group from France who wanted to help us to support the women to start some business. And they helped us to start 2 corn mill machine. And the women are working there to generate income, but also to generate money to help each other. We organize, there's one group in Selela from my village who are doing this business right now, and it's very successful. Their kids are going to schools, they're improving their homes. Each member who working in this business has a nice house now, and their kids, especially the girls, are going to school. So the impact is so huge. Yes.
I have a question about the metal roofs. Aren't they really high?
The metal roofs are hot, but because they're putting a lot of windows, I think that is because they're putting windows, that also help the ventilation, to be better. And they're putting a little bit higher, so you can live, but there is a time they really get hot when the rain is nearby, during hot season. But this is what they want. This is better than rain, water leakage.
Yeah, everything is a trade-off. The women hate their little roundhouses. And they like the rectangular house. And the rectangular house takes the metal roof. And they like the metal roof because they don't have to repair the thatch. And they like the 3-room house. They have a sitting room, they have a bedroom, they have a storage room. And they build a little kitchen outside, a little round kitchen outside, so they don't cook inside anymore. And that little round kitchen outside uses our stove and a chimney. But, one of the things that maybe I exaggerate, but which I just love, the women sleep with their kids. in their bed. In the little round house, their bed is a cowhide stretched out, and it's not rectangular. Now, how do you sleep with 2 or 3 little kids in a non-rectangular bed? So they want to buy a mattress in town. They want to buy a foam mattress. They know there are foam mattresses that are rectangular. But you can't put a rectangular bed in a round house. You need wall space. So they like wall space, like we do, in order to sleep with their kids. So it's things like that that you don't think about. Yeah. No, I don't. We're good. We're good at with the government. We don't ever do anything in the style of saying we're better than you. Our women's organizer, when she goes to organize women's groups in a village, she goes to the village chairman first. She goes to the village committee first. And she works with them in a way that gets a good feeling that we are helping you achieve what you want to achieve in your village. Everything we do is done in the spirit of we're helping us all achieve what we all want to achieve in our communities. There's corruption, of course. I mean, I'm corrupt, he's corrupt, we're all corrupt. But the feeling of being in competition with the government is not created. We're careful about that.
Yeah. They call us a second hand of the government. And yes, we involve them very, very well. And they love what we're doing. Except, why they are not helping us is, I know, we're working with district government who receive the implementation methodology and resources from the central government. And they have to do what the central government have said. And us to work with the central government is very hard. So that is our problem. We're dealing with people who have no power, who have no resources to support us. They're supporting us spiritually, but not financially. So, yeah, but the work is wonderful, and just to repeat, yes. The people who have the money? Yeah, good question. They're not helping us. They're not helping us as an organization, but we're finding them. I participated in one fundraising event. I participated in, this is better? I participated in one of the fundraising event 2 weeks ago, before I came here. And that was planned by the women themselves, organized the men to contribute resources, to contribute money, to help them to do what we're helping other groups to do. So there's people in the community who are joining this by supporting our, these groups outside us. But they don't come to us. It's hard for us to raise money within the community as an organization. They always think the organization has money, and that's why it's doing all of this. So, but those groups who didn't get money from us, they can call me to be a guest of honor, just to lead the fundraising. And we raise money from the community to support them. And we raise significant money, like one group And in last week, we raised about $4,000 from the local people. Yeah, so sometimes it happens that way. Yeah. Thank you. And I just wanted to also to talk a little bit about these metal roof homes. That is what the Maasai, we're talking about the reality. The Maasai are living in those little thatched roofs because they don't have resources to have better houses. They wish to have blocked, well-designed, well, they wish to have the American houses. That is their wish. But because they cannot afford, they go to what they can afford. So the movement now in Maasai land is to metal sheet roofs houses. They can be, the wall will be the wood. They will use the the clay and the cow dungs to do the plaster, but the top at least be the metal roofs. That is the reality. And I'm talking as a Maasai and as a guy who, my mother, 9 years ago, she really forced me to buy iron sheet for her house. So, a lot of sons are getting that force to do the same thing. Yeah, so let's come to the climate change adaptation. It's where now we will talk about the rain. Except last year, where we had a very, very big rain. The last 6 years have been tough years for the Maasai. The rain was very little every year for those past 6 years. The drought was terrible. And this is how the animals look at the end. So they look this way because they have no food, no water. Why? Because of the drought. And this is just an example. I think I deleted one of the very terrible photos with hundreds of cows dying. We got somewhere. Yes.
I've worked in Turkana
Yeah.
in Kenya, and the Turkana people have had to go from cattle to actually camel. They herd camels now and use the milk. But they don't have access to the water like you might have there with the ponds. So they have enormous boreholes that are solar powered, many of them. But I wondered if they've had to switch as well to camels and to
Yeah, it's hard for the Maasai to move from cows to something else. Cows is their life, and they think, they think cows that is available in America or Europe is their cows. It belongs to the Maasai. This is the only thing they know how to do, to keep their livestock. And it's a prestige, but also is an economic activity for this community. So they are not switching so far. They try to strive. They try to struggle to find ways how to survive their cows until the next rain season. When the rain comes, this cow will change. After 2 months, you won't think is this cow that we were uplifting. What we're doing for the Maasai is to train how to go through the difficult time, especially during the drought. Always we get at least a little rain that is enough to grow the grass. But how do you make sure your cows have enough food until the next rain season? Let's assume the rain always rain in December. This month, we are in October, is the starting hard time for the Maasai in our area. From October to December, that is the hardest time. And if you don't have the way to get extra food, you can feed your cows. You lose your cows during the first rain, because that is how we always, as Maasai, lose our cows. during the first rain season. Look at this cow, which I just showed, this one. This one can survive for a month this way. Can survive for a month if you feed a little food. But you have to wake up 3 times a night to get it up because the cow cannot wake up. So what we're doing is we're training them how to harvest hay and store them using the normal land we have. This is in my village. We have a big hay farm. It's a new thing, but we have to show them that you can harvest hay and store them. And when the drought comes, because the Maasai live in, we have a public land where we graze our cows. But also we have little individual land where we're doing agriculture. So we're telling them, you better not do agriculture. You can buy food from another community. You can buy human food, but you cannot buy cow's food. So what you can do with your land that you're doing agriculture, which is very rarely to harvest crops, let grass grow, cut them, store them, like here. This is one of our storage. It's just a demonstration storage, but also it's helping the community because there's a time we allow the Maasai to bring their cows to our feedlot. We have a place we call a feedlot. You have to have a place to feed your cows when they're skinny, when there's no grass anywhere else. So you have to have a storage, you have to have troughs to feed your cows, and then you can have your cows going through this situation.
These climate change adaptation things that Kishioki is telling you about and more, he'll show you some more. They're demonstrations. They are not solutions. We aren't working on a scale to solve the problems for the Maasai. We're trying to help the Maasai herders and the Maasai farmers, as he'll go into, start thinking more creatively, start thinking in new ways, realizing there are other ways to do things. So it's all about demonstration. Here we're working with a few hundred cows. Of course, that's tiny. But the Maasai then can start thinking, wait a minute, there are ways to keep cows alive through crises. So we're just demonstrating. We're not fixing.
Yeah, demonstrating. And this is we call a feedlot. It's not an American, okay. Yeah, that one is really thin. It's not eatable. But yes, they keeping cows first for production. I mean the reproduction to increase the number of cows. But finally the end is to sell and get money to do something else in your family. It's for selling. It's a business. But they are not really getting into real business. They just become headers. And at the end, if you don't harvest your cows by selling them, this smart guy who come and harvest them, which is a drought, we call it. So in order you to wait for drought to come to harvest your cows, you have to keep them well and healthy and sell them and get money. There's people with butchery who slaughter. Yeah, they do slaughter. That is in a food chain. Let's say it's for food. Yeah, the end consumer is us. We eat. But also,
The Maasai sell their cows if they can into the Kenyan meat food chain. That's where the real money is.
yeah, we sell to Kenya, but also we sell in Tanzania. Now Kenya is buying young cows because Kenya have went, they changed their lifestyle. Instead of raising cows like the normal Maasai do, they buy these little cows and fatten them for some months and slaughter them. So in Tanzania, we sell big cows because there's market. There's people who buy for butcheries. So there's market. And, a cow can be sold from $200 to $1,000. Yeah, can worth something like that. So, yeah, apart from the, showing them on hay, also, in order your cows to be healthy, you have to have supplements. So we have a factory where we produce different kind of food, where we mix sunflower cakes, we mix maize bran, we mix with corn cobs. Corn cobs tend to be a very good cow's food. So we mix those kind of things and get a wonderful, good supplement for cattle. And at the end, we have also, in our project, we try to show to the Maasai that there is new breed. This is a breed from Kenya. As I said, the Kenyan have went further comparing it to Tanzania. We have this new breed, is a Boran and a Sawal, where we introduce into the Maasai of Tanzania. We selling young bulls to the headers so that their breed gets changed, because this breed grow fast and has a good market if you take them to the market. So that's why we're doing this. And we also went far to reach to the farmers. We showing to the farmer that it is possible to do agriculture and not to depend with rain. You can have a borehole, you depend with underground water, you drill, you have a pump run by solar, and you can do drip irrigation like you can see here. And this is our demonstration farm right now. This is just a picture we took last week. It's October, it's a dry season, but you can grow food. And it's just a demonstration. We also planning to share with our neighbors, farmers, the borehole and water we pumping using our solar system. It's a big solar system where we have plenty of water that we can share with other farmers. But the big idea is to demonstrate that you can do agriculture during dry season. So that's how we do. Well, as I said before, also we join with other life improvement projects. This is one of our partner we're working with near Kilimanjaro Mountain, at the bottom of Kilimanjaro Mountain, I think. And she put 300 stove there, and all homes have solar system for light and cell phone chargers. As you see there, people are holding boxes with 60-watt panels for their homes. And the 60-watt panel is plenty. It's a big electrification. And yesterday we just joined by another organization who are going to support us about 320 stoves and solar, and they will have the same system. So this is what we're doing. We want people to join us on this movement, to support us, because the need is big, so that we continue to improve life of our people. Thank you very much, and I welcome questions. Yes. Yes, we're planning to go to California, then to DC, Maryland. Yeah, then to New York. I'm going for a big global fund for widows gala that is going to happen on November 14. And I'm one of the honorary guests together with
We work with this wonderful organization called the Global Fund for Widows. I met the director of that years ago, and with her, we started this women's group thing that's so nice. The women we have a generalized definition of widow with her, with the Global Fund. Your husband's dead, your husband has abandoned you completely, your husband doesn't help you at all with the kids. Those are called widows. And I always tell Kichioki, all Maasai women are widows. But leaving that aside, maybe all women in the world are widows, but no, definitely all Maasai women are widows. Anyway, with them we started the first 19 groups. Now women organize themselves into these groups of 25, raise money and come to us, as Kichioki was saying, and say, please get us in on it, train us a little bit more how to cooperate, and top up our capital. And we try to do as much of that as we can, and obviously it's resources limited, period. The women love it, and the social change is wonderful. Well, the Gala Fund for Widows loves us, and we love them, and their work. And every year they have the Global Fund has a gala, a gula, a G-A-L-A, and they raise a lot of money. And this year, Kichioki is one of the honorees at that, and the other main honoree is Nelson Mandela's widow. So this guy and Nelson Mandela's widow are somehow on an equal footing in New York on November 14th. We're also we have two other nice events in New York. We have events at Stanford University and San Francisco. We're going to San Diego. These are places where we have good friends, where our project has good friends, and are organizing things like this that Dawn and you guys have done for us. So we're traveling. And in Annapolis, my brother, who's been to Africa many times with me, is organizing an event. And in Laguna Niguel, my son, who's been to Africa with us, is organizing an event. And so we're going to travel around and encourage things. But on the 14th is the big gala in New York, and the minimum price ticket to get into the gala is $500, but I'm getting in for free because I'm a guest, because he's an honoree.
He'll be my bodyguard, so he'll get for free. Okay. Yeah, karibu.
How difficult is it to, different with that else?
Yeah, I think for our work, we respect the culture, but we are not violating the culture. And the thing we're supporting the Maasai women to do is something the men also supporting it. And that's why I just said they're joining us to support this group, to have access to do business, to become business women and things like that. And they are not taking opportunity, they are not taking power from somebody, so there is no conflict. It's just something that everyone, I said we have over 200 requests. And this group, when they come to our office, they were escorted by men. Each group has men inside. And even this group that we're organizing, they have people they call advisors, and these are men. And they are selected by the group themselves. So it's something positive in the community, and We even, the most call we're getting, because sometimes groups force a village leader who is a man to call us, saying, when are you guys coming to our village? We're really waiting for you. Just come and visit and see what we are doing. And so it's something that is supported by men, because they are not taking opportunity from, the women are not taking up job opportunity or power from somebody else. Maybe, Bob, you can add something? And there's a question there.
Yeah, I have an angle on it that comes from my history. I'm an American, whatever. A couple principles. Power is not a zero-sum game. The problem is thinking about power as there's a certain amount of it and who has it. No, power is created. Power is the ability to do something that people think is worth doing. That's what power means. So you can create more of it. And if you create it in the right way, no one loses any. It's more. And so that's the key, that the men have to. Now, the other thing that's a key to me is diversity. I say it all the time. There is no one Maasai man. We tend to think that this group must have a culture, but it's people, and people are diverse. And we have these guys who have joined the women groups several years ago who are amazing guys, who come to all the meetings and are asked to give speeches, and the women are so thrilled to have them come, and they love what's happened to the women. So diversity is a key. There are the men in Maasai land, a patriarchal society. It's a horribly patriarchal society. But there are men who say, oh my God, this is nice to see the women have more power. So then those men now have a new relationship to the women and new relationship to other men. It's very dynamic. And so power is not a zero-sum game. And culture is not a rule for everybody. It's diversity. Look at us in Wellesley. Think how diverse you are in Wellesley. Okay? The Maasai are diverse like that.
And the world is changing, and they understand that women and men have equal right, and they can just look on the national level. Our president is a woman, so tell a lot of story, and the Maasai are not like the Maasai of this time are not like the Maasai of 15, 20 years ago. They're changing, and education is really changing them. Yeah, you saw it. I showed you that this training on livestock, we're dealing with men, and their big job is, to do this economic activities like keeping animals, doing agriculture if they can, become business, because there's some strong Maasai businessmen who are doing, working in the minerals, selling the minerals to, even outside the country. So the big role in the community is to support the community economically using their livestock. So they are the people who are responsible to pay school fees for the kids and provide food. And that's why you saw in these groups of women we're working, mostly are widows. The women who don't have men support. So there's a group who have men support. Yes.
Questions.
Yes.
How long do kids go to school, and what's the education system, sort of from start to finish? And are women encouraged to have as many children as they can? What's that dynamic?
Yeah, to start with the question of how far the kids go to school, it depends how a child pass exams. You start with primary school, then you go to secondary school, then finally you join university. But the process from primary to secondary, you had to pass a so-called national exam. And if you don't pass, you go back to the village, or if your parents have little money, they buy you into a private school. Then you can join to the university later. But for also to join to the university, you had to pass Form 6 national exam. So they have these filters which allow you to go to the next level. And, now they're changing a little bit, but the majority, let's say 80% of the Maasai women have, they can have children from 8 to 10. And it depends on their parents' status. Are they educated? The man, he knows the value of education. And that led to, the kid all to go to school. Or if they fail from primary school, they all come back to start, taking care of cows. Some go to Kenya to look for a job, because we're having a lot of young Tanzanians moving to Kenya, now to Zambia, Malawi, to do little business, especially becoming the security guard, or sell shoes to the people there. So that is also the problem that we're facing right now. Unemployment in Tanzania, and people are getting outside the country, especially the young Maasai men. And given the drought, they see as keeping the livestock has no profit, is a hard job, which is true. I think the hardest job in Tanzania to be a header, to look after cows. So, because you walk miles every day to look for grass and water. You walk for 4 hours every day. It's a hard job. So I don't know if I have answered your all questions. Yes.
Is FGM a problem in this part of the world?
It's a problem. It's a problem. It's a problem. Yeah.
You said things have changed in the last 15 or so years.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems. There's a lot of problems, and you can't fix every problem. Look, we haven't talked about housing here. We are not working on housing, which is a problem too. But there's organization that are working with FGMs. There's also stakeholders who are working on that, and the government also is in a constitution that you are not allowed to do that for girls. So the government is working strongly on that too. But it's a problem to this community, and I think the solution one day is for all girls and boys to go to school and to understand the effects of this.
Thank you very much.
Asante sana.
Thank you all for your attendance and your patience with the microphone. And thank you again for Wellesley Neighbors and the library for sponsoring this presentation. Thank you all.